Hello, I am Sunita. Welcome to my class. Here I am going to discuss Karnataka TET science topics according to the syllabus. Here the topic is light, especially in that one reflection. This in the reflection. This is the part 1 class. Follow all my classes regularly, then you can clear your TET exams very easily. Light, definition of light. Light is a form of energy that enables us to see things. Light is one of the form of energy. It will make the object to see properly. You are able to identify the object properly with the help of the light. When any light rays falls on the object, the natural source of light is sunlight. When sunlight falls on any object, then that rays it will get reflected. Then that reflected light it will receive by our eyes. Then the image it will form on the retina. Then that image it will be transferred to brain with the help of the optic nerve. Then later the brain it will recognize the object. With the help of this process, with the help of the light, you are able to see an object. Nature of light, how the light it will behaves, behavior of the light, otherwise nature of the light. Light behaves as a first one, it will behaves as a ray, it will get reflection. Then it will behaves as a wave. You can observe, for example, interference and diffraction. Then third one, light behaves as a particle. Example, photoelectric effect. Let us discuss nature of light in detail. Nature of light. Light behaves as a ray. For example, reflection. Let us discuss in detail here. Reflection is when light bounces off an object. When light rays falls on any object, then they will get reflected, otherwise they will get bounced back. This one we will call it as a reflection. If the surface is smooth or shiny like glass or water or polished metal, the light will reflect at the same angle as it hit the surface. This is called as a specular reflection. Here, observe here, this is the mirror. When light rays falls on the mirror, that one we will call it as a incident ray. Then after falling on the mirror, the light rays it will get reflected. That one we will call it as a reflected ray. But in the case of a specular reflection, the angle of incidence it will be equal to angle of reflection. This angle it will be equal to this angle. In the case of a specular reflection, the surface may be glass, water or polished metal. Like it will act as a plane mirror. Whatever the light rays falls on this surface, it will get reflected, then it will follow a particular pattern. This one we will call it as a specular reflection. But in the case of a diffuse reflection, you can see the surface is not smooth and not shiny also. Then here the surface is curved, not a regular surface. Then whatever the light rays they will fall on this surface, they will also get reflected, but they will not follow any proper pattern. Then here angle of incidence is not equal to angle of reflection. Then this reflected ray they will get diverged and also they will get deviated. This type of reflection we will call it as a diffuse reflection. Nature of light. Light behaves as a wave. For example, interference and diffraction. Interference refer to the phenomenon where two waves of the same kind overlap to produce a resultant wave of greater, lower and the same amplitude. Interference is nothing but here the phenomenon of overlapping of same kind of waves. It will combines to form a wave. That resultant wave may be having greater or lower or same amplitude. Here for example laser light. Laser light is a combination of two or more waves, then they will get interference, then you will get a pattern like this. Then here you can observe a pattern here. Here you can observe the dark band, here the light band, here the combination of dark and light bands you are getting a proper pattern. This phenomenon is known as a interference. Nature of light. Light behaves as a wave. For example, diffraction. Diffraction of light occurs when light wave passes by a corner. When light is passing through a corner, or through an opening, or through an slit that is physically the appropriate size or even smaller than that of the light wavelength. Diffraction occurs when light rays, when it is passes through a corner or through an opening or a slit, then even the wavelength is smaller than the particular wavelength, then you can see the pattern of diffraction. The parallel lines are actually diffracted patterns. Consider here, if incident light, this is the incident light, if it is passes through a slit or some corner, then it will split into 7 different colors. That one we will call it as a spectrum. Then here you can see spectacular reflection also. Here spectacular reflection is nothing but angle of incidence, it will be equal to angle of reflection. This is the example of diffraction. Then one more, see here, when white light, when it is passes through a diffraction grating or a slit, then it will split into a different 7 colors. Then that 7 colors, the combination of 7 colors, we will call it as a spectrum. Then you are getting a 2 spectrum here. This is also an example of a diffraction. Nature of light. Light behaves as a particle, for example, photoelectric effect. Photoelectric effect, phenomenon in which electrically charged particles are released from or within a material when it absorbs electromagnetic radiation. The effect is often defined as the ejection of electron from a metal plate when light falls on it. Here, what is meant by photoelectric effect? If any light rays, if any electromagnetic radiation or light rays, if it is falls on the metal surface, then a charged bodies, they will release from the metal surface. For example, electron emission of electrons, it will takes place. This process we will call it as a photoelectric effect, because here it will involve the release of electrons from a metal surface when light rays falls on the metal. This process we will call it as a photoelectric effect. Next one, law of reflection. The first law of reflection states that the incident ray, the reflected ray, the normal to the surface of the mirror all lie in the same plane. Consider here, this is the incident ray, this is the reflected ray, this is the normal to the surface of the mirror. All these three, they will lie on the same plane. Consider this is the white blackboard, this is the one plane. All the three rays, they will lie on the plane, same plane. That is the first law. The second law of reflection states that the angle of reflection is equal to the angle of incidence. Both the angles are measured with respect to the normal to the mirror. Here theta I, it will represent the angle of incidence. Then theta R are the angle of reflection. Here second law states that angle of incidence, it will be equal to angle of reflection. When you are measuring the angle, then you have to consider this normal, it is drawn perpendicular to the mirror. This is very, very important. These are the two important laws of reflection. Light incident on another medium. Here consider this figure, you are having two different medium. Here is the medium, here water is the medium. When light, when it passes from one medium to another medium, what is the nature of the light? Let us discuss here in detail. When light rays, when it is passes from one medium to another medium, what are the changes? What it will involve? Let us discuss here. When the light travel from one medium to another medium, it either get absorbed. Some of the light rays, maybe they will get absorbed. So radiation may be bounce back, maybe they will get reflected or diffraction. Some passes through or bent. Some light rays, they may be passes through a medium, otherwise they will bend. That type of rays we will call it as a refraction. When light is incident on a plane mirror, most of it gets reflected and some of it get absorbed in the medium. Let us discuss here. When light rays enter from air to a water medium, this is the incident ray. Some of the rays, they will get reflected and some of the rays, they will get refracted. Then this bending of light, this light, it will bend. towards the normal. This is the normal. Normal is nothing but the line drawn perpendicular to the surface of the two surface. Then here the light rays, it will bend, then bending of light rays, it will takes towards the perpendicular to the normal, towards the normal. The bending of light rays takes place towards the normal. Then here you can observe some of the light rays, they will get reflected, some of the light rays, they will get refracted. Refracted, why refraction it will occur here? Because the light rays, it will enter from air to a water. When there is a change in medium, then bending of light takes place. Bending of light, we will call it as a refraction. Then here consider second example. Here the light rays, it will travel from water to air. Then here also some of the light rays, they will get reflected, some they will get refracted. But here bending of light, it will takes place away from the normal, not towards the normal. The bending of light rays, it will takes place away from the normal. That is the two different case you have to remember. Then here one thing you have to remember, when light rays, when it is traveled from one medium to another medium, because of the change in refractive index of the two medium, bending of light takes place. Bending of light, we will call it as a refraction of light. Propagation of light, rectilinear propagation of light. Light travels in a straight line between any two points. Always light, it will travel in a straight line. That type of propagation, we will call it as a rectilinear propagation of light. Here observe this example. Here we are taken 3 cardboard sheet. We make a hole in a straight line. With the help of this holes, you can see the lightening of candle. From this you can conclude the light rays, always it will follow a straight line. This one we will call it as a rectilinear propagation of light. Then Fermat's theorem, the principle of least time. Light always takes the quickest path between any two points, which may not be the shortest path. Already I told, the light rays always it will travels in a straight line, and always it will involve a short path between the any two points. Rectilinear propagation of light and law of reflection, I it will be equal to R. Angle of incidence, it will be equal to angle of reflection, can be valid by the Fermat principle of least time. Then according to this law, angle of incidence, even though the light is traveling in a straight line, angle of incidence, it will be equal to angle of reflection. This is nothing but Fermat's theorem. Plane mirror, any flat and polished surface that has almost no irregularities on its surface that reflect light is called as a plane mirror. Consider this is an example of a plane mirror. Plane mirror have a flat and polished surface, and it does not have any irregularities on the surface. The reflection, it will take place on the smooth surface. That type of mirror we will call it as a plane mirror. Then next one, what is the characteristic of images, otherwise nature of the images? The images can be real or virtual or erect or inverted, magnified or diminished. Let us discuss in detail one by one. A real image is the formed by the actual convergence of light rays. Real image is nothing but you are getting a image on the screen. That type of image we will call it as a real image. Real image, after reflection, they will meet at a single point. Convergence is nothing but after reflection, the light rays, they will meet at a single point. After converging, we will get a image. That type of image we will call it as a real image. Here this is an example of a virtual image. Here when light rays falls on this object, it will get reflected. After reflecting, that reflected ray, it will get diverge. Then after extending this divergent rays, they will meet at a single point. Then it will appear to converge. But before it will get diverge, when you extended the divergent rays, then it will meet at a single point, it will converge at a single point, and you are getting an image. That type of image we will call it as a virtual image. In the case of virtual image, you have to remember, if you after reflection from a plane surface, the reflected rays, they will get diverge first. Then when you extended these two diverging rays, they will meet at a single point. After meeting at a single point, you are getting an image, that is a converging image. That type of image we will call it as a virtual image. Characteristic of images: if an image formed is upside down, then it is called as a inverted, or else it is called as an erect image. Here this is an example of a inverted or erect image, because here the image is inverted, it will become upside down. This type of image we will call it as a inverted or erect image. If the image formed is bigger than the object, then it is called as a magnified. Magnified is nothing but a enlarged image. If the image size is bigger than the object, that type of image we will call it as a magnified image. If the image formed is smaller than the object, that one we will call it as a diminished image. If the image formed is smaller than the object, that one we will call it as a diminished. Magnified means you are getting a bigger image compared to the object. Diminished means you are getting a small image compared to the object. Image formed by a plane mirror. The image formed by a plane mirror is always virtual and erect. Whatever the image you are getting from a plane mirror is always virtual and also erect. The object and image are equidistant from the mirror. The distance between the mirror and object, it will be equal to the distance between the image and the mirror. Distance from the object to the mirror, it will be equal to distance from mirror to the object. That is the two important points regarding the plane mirror. Principle of reversibility of light. If the direction of a ray of light is reversed due to reflection of a surface, then it will retrace its path. Here you can observe two medium, one is air, another one is water. When light travels from one medium to another medium, even it will get reflected, even refracted also. Then here you can observe this AO is the incident ray. After hitting this surface, then it will get reflected in this path. This is the angle of reflection. Here if you keep a mirror in the second reflected surface, then after hitting this mirror, the reflected ray once again it bounce back, otherwise once again it will travels in the same direction. Again it will get reflected in the same direction. This one we will call it as a reversibility of light, because if you keep the mirror here, after hitting a mirror, the path of the ray it will get bounce back in the same direction. Then same reflected ray it would act as an incident ray for this surface. After hitting this surface, again it will get reflected back. This process we will call it as a reversibility of light. Thanks for listening my class. Send me your valuable feedback. Follow all my classes regularly, then easily you can clear your TET exam. Thank you. Thank you very much.